The Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
Welcome back in, everybody. Time right now in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates Studios, 5:16. I'm still getting over the tough loss for the Mets. I was at Citi Field on Wednesday night for the playing game. Madison Bumgarner dominant, Noah Syndergaard dominant as well. Mets go down, though, in that ninth inning with the Gillespie 3-run jack. I'm watching the postseason, though, this year. But I will say on my Mets, as I try to move on, I was very proud of the effort that they put forward. That was a team that could have quit, a team that was decimated with injuries, but they did not do so. And there was a team that you saw a lot of surprises because of all the big names that were injured. Josh Smoker was one of those surprises out of the pen, and he joins us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, the Mets reliever. Josh, appreciate a few minutes, and how are you?
Doing great, guys. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on. So, looking back at that season, like I said, team was killed with injuries, but for you, it was working back and getting to the big league level after suffering so many injuries when you were younger. What did this season mean to you personally, looking back at it?
I think it was definitely a positive season. Having to come back from a couple of injuries, it's always tough to have to deal with that. But unfortunately, that's part of the game. And just the fact that I was given that second chance that you don't get very often, I'll forever be grateful to the Mets because of it.
You've had a lot of injuries since 2008. How did you keep your spirits up during rehab with that goal of getting to the big league level?
Family, man. I tell you, family definitely helps me get through it. There were numerous times where I was pretty much ready to hang the cleats up and just kind of call it a career. But I had my wife and my parents. They were kind of behind me, pushing me the whole way, and they never lost hope in me. And there were definitely some times where, having them around where I might have been down on myself on one particular day or something like that, they definitely helped get me through it.
We hear this term a lot with some of the Mets pitchers this year, and unfortunately it's the bone spur in the shoulder. You had that injury. Can you just take us through a little bit about that injury and what it feels like having a bone spur in your shoulder?
It feels kind of like a little pinch. At first, it's just a little bit of pain, and then the more you throw, if you continue to try and throw through it, which I did, it just kind of eventually turns into a little bit of a sharper pain, and finally, when it gets to its worst point, it's just basically a big pinch in the back of your shoulder every time you throw the ball. And you can maybe throw 5-10 pitches and you're fine, but anything after that, it's pretty painful. And the next day is the worst. You're really sore, and it basically felt like you threw 100 pitches when you really only threw 10 pitches. So it's definitely not easy. It's a lot of pain.
Fans don't see that behind-the-scenes work, the diligent work that you put in to get into the big leagues after all those injuries that you suffered. When you found out that you were getting a chance with the Mets and that you were going to be on their big league roster, what were those emotions like?
Man, I tell you, it was awesome. After having been through everything I had gone through, when no other teams, 29 other teams wouldn't even come to watch me throw a bullpen in the off season. So just the fact that the Mets took a chance on me when nobody else would, I'll forever be grateful. I mean, it was a day I'll never forget, and it was awesome.
When you're trotting out of the bullpen and you get that first opportunity, what was going through your mind as you were trotting your way from the bullpen onto the mound?
Don't mess up. We were in San Francisco, and it was I think it was a sellout crowd, and we were right in the middle of a playoff race, and if I remember right, when I came in, we might have been tied or had a 1-run lead, and I there were so many emotions going through my head that I just I can't really put it into words, and I definitely tensed up after those first couple pitches, but after that it was business just like usual, and from that point on it felt just like any other outing, but it's definitely a day I'll never forget.
Those last two games in San Francisco were very big for this team turning it around. And then also in the middle of August, you guys went through that tough stretch where you couldn't find a way to win back-to-back games. And most teams could have just lied down and say, hey, we made the World Series last year. This one's going to be over. We lost this big pitcher, this big player, a captain at third base. That wasn't this team. What made you guys so resilient this year?
I think we had a great leadership. The veterans on that team are awesome. They had the never give up mentality, and always positive, man. Every time you're in the clubhouse, there's a positive vibe. Even after a couple of tough losses we had leading up to the clinching of the Wildcard Game, it's just only positive thoughts in that clubhouse. And it definitely made it fun to come to the field every day. And even though we were right in the middle of the playoff race, it didn't really feel like it. It was just another game, and we were coming out and having fun. And to me, that's when you play your best, is when you're just loosing out there having a good time. And it made it very easy to come to the field every day.
Josh Smoker joins us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. A lot of credit has to go to the manager and Terry Collins. And after you guys clinched, I really saw how appreciative you guys were of your manager, just getting him soaked in champagne. You heard Jay Bruce, Jose Reyes, and also Curtis Granderson being very complimentary to him. Just describe to me what it's like to play for Terry Collins.
Terry Collins is great. He's a phenomenal manager. He handles the game great. And New York is not an easy place to manage. Our fans expect a lot, as well as they should, because, the product we put onto the field every day has a chance to win a World Series. And I think he handles it great. And, every day it's just like I said with the veterans. Every day you come to the field, it's a positive outlook on the game and on life. And he taught me a lot in the short period I was there. And I look forward to, hopefully getting to play under him in the near future again.
So then get into a big confidant of one Terry Collins. That is the pitching coach in Dan Warthen. That was a tough position for the Mets this year because of all the big names you lost. But then a guy like Gesellman comes in, pitches very well, also with Seth Lugo. What did you learn from Dan Warthen this year?
When I first got there, the balls are actually a little bit different than what I was expecting them to be. They're a lot slicker. And I was a guy that relied heavily on my split finger when I was in the minor leagues as my strikeout pitch, and I just never was really able to get a good grip of it. Once I got called up, it would always slip out of my fingers. So he showed me the famous Warthen slider, and started working on it a little bit, just out on the flat ground playing catch and things like that. And it felt pretty comfortable right away, and it fit my arm slot perfectly. So I ended up throwing it in the games right away, and honestly, if it hadn't have been for that pitch, I would have really struggled my first time up in the big leagues, and it ended up being a huge pitch, and I definitely wouldn't have gotten it unless he would have showed me how to throw it. So he helped me out a ton. And like I said, I would have struggled big time if it hadn't have been for him.
It's amazing how you have that much success early on the big league level after missing all that time off from injuries. And you said it, teams weren't even giving you a chances. Then the Mets, they came calling. How long did it take you to get comfortable at the big league level?
Right away, man. That clubhouse, like I said, the veteran guys, they're very open to everybody. There's no egos in there. It's just everybody clicks. I from the day I walked in, I felt like I'd known those guys my whole life, and they definitely made it easy to come into the clubhouse and fit in right away. So I owe a lot to those guys. It was a great environment to be in.
So definitely no question in your career, a step in the right direction. What do you want to improve on and personally work on for next season?
Your command can always improve. I think that's the biggest thing. If you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, I would say just trying to get my fastball back. But luckily, I've finally gotten it back to where I wanted it to be. And you can always improve on your command. I work on both sides of the plate, really at any count. And I'd like my slider to get a little bit sharper. I think that's something that'll come as I continue to throw it more often and get more comfortable with it. But I think for me, the biggest thing is just being able to command both sides of the plate at any given time.
Wrapping up with Josh Smoker, who joins us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. So how long did it take you to get over the loss? Are you over the loss yet? How long does that take you to get over as a big league player?
No, I'm not over that. I wanted to go the whole way. It's going to be tough. It definitely gives you some weapons going into next season. Anytime you have a tough loss like that, you're not ready for your season to end early. So, I think until we win a World Series, I won't be over it, to be honest with you.
How about that pitching matchup, though? Thor and Bumgarner. I had an MLB writer, Richard Justice, text me, and he said it's unfortunate that one of these teams have to lose because those two guys, they brought it in some more on that night.
It was incredible, man. It was one of the best pitching matchups of the season, and just getting to witness that and watch those two guys do what they do best. It was pretty cool to be a part of. I really enjoyed watching it. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for us, but you have to respect a good pitching matchup, whatever the outcome is. It was a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully in the near future we can have a rematch and it'll turn out for the better for us this time.
I was doing the show out of New York that day, and I felt the excitement in New York. But leading up to the game, I saw the roster come out, and I was very surprised you weren't on the active roster for the Wildcard Game. Were you surprised by that?
No, I wasn't. It was a matchup thing. Edgin had better numbers against lefties than I did, so I was completely on board with it. And if we would have made it to Chicago, I might have been a part of that. I couldn't tell you if I would have for sure or not. But just getting to be in the bullpen and experience the crowd. I mean, the Mets fans are, when you're in the playoffs, they're the best fans in baseball, period. But much less when you're in the playoffs, and it's just the atmosphere is. It was incredible, and getting to be a part of it was a big honor for me.
They also have that unique group, the 7-Line Army, which all you players, you love them because you get the free T-shirts and the interactions with the fans, and Darren and all those guys at the 7-Line Army do a tremendous job. You get to be in the bullpen, though, and see that Army just go from the home games to the road games. How's your interaction with the 7-Line Army?
It's unbelievable. We actually, by the end of the year, they have a chant they do.
The Struck 'em Out chant.
Exactly. And so we actually, Gabriel Inoa, just kind of as a joke, started doing it, just kind of messing with us a little bit. He's a clown, by the way. He's a funny guy to be a part of or to be with. So he started doing it, and actually just kind of stuck. And, by the end of the year, the whole bullpen was doing it. And that's what the game's all about, is just having a good interaction with the fans. And like I said, New York fans are the best there are. And getting to have a good interaction like that, it's something that you don't see in any other sport. And that's one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is because, the fans are right on top of you. And that fan interaction with the players it's like nothing else.
Hansel Robles is also a fun personality, too. I saw him on Saturday when you guys clinched against the Phillies. He was having fun in that clubhouse.
Oh, yeah. He's a lot of fun to be around, man. He's definitely, no matter what the situation is, he definitely keeps things loose. And that's the whole team. I mean, like I said, the chemistry in that clubhouse, it was second to none. And it definitely made it fun to come to the field every day.
You know Jeurys Familia very well, 51 saves on the year, but a lot of fans, they look at what happened last year in the World Series and then what happened against Connor Gillespie on Wednesday night. Where's the team's confidence in Jeurys Familia?
If we have a 3-run lead or less, I want him in the game in the ninth inning. It's as simple as that. He's our closer, and I have all the faith in the world in him. And, if we're in that situation again, which I think we will be, there's nobody else I'd want to be out there. He's one of the best closers in baseball. And he's definitely got the tools and the confidence, and he's got the whole package. And like I said, there's nobody else I'd rather see out there than him.
I know you still want to be playing. That's the obvious. But do you watch these playoffs now?
Yeah, I do. It's tough to watch them, but I'm just a baseball fan in general. So I enjoy watching them, but at the same time, knowing we were so close to being in those games, it's tough to watch at times. But I just keep telling myself, we're going to be there in the near future, and we're going to end up having a ring at some point.
From your lips to God's ears, I've been waiting for it as a long time as a Met fan, and I hope to see it, and I do have confidence in this group. Final one before we let you run. Nationals playing the Dodgers right now. Nationals up 4-1. You played in that Nationals organization. You were a prospect for them for a long time. Do you still have contact with any of those National players?
I talked to a couple of them. I do, yeah. I talked to Giolito a good bit. Me and him are good buds. And Rendon, he's a good friend of mine. So I've kept in contact with a few of them. So I'm definitely cheering for them. I wish it was us, but they're good guys, and I'm definitely cheering for them.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you coming on today. Enjoy the time with the family, and we'll see you on the mound next year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. There's Josh Smoker joining us on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, the Jersey. That's what I expect, really. He's a good guy, good quote, has an incredible story, someone that has been through the lows of injury, comes on the mound this year. Big league debut for the New York Mets. I was a little bit surprised he was left off the roster, but you heard the explanation because of the numbers. And then the confidence in Jeurys Familia. That's a Mets team. It's a predicament. You can't get rid of Jeurys Familia. I was someone that was very critical of Jeurys Familia, though, in the postseason against the Royals, blowing 3 saves, and then also on Wednesday. That walk to Panic was still the killer. Because if you don't walk Panic, you get him out, then you walk Gillespie, and you then put Bruce Bochy in a predicament of, do you take out Madison Bumgarner or do you put him up to hit? You'll probably get Madison Bumgarner out, even though Madison Bumgarner is a good hitter. With the Mets, you have to bring back Cespedes. We all know that. Their outfield is going to be crowded next year. Maybe they try Michael Conforto at first base. Reyes should return. It will be low cost. Reyes completely changed the dynamic of that Mets roster. I loved what I saw as Drupal Cabrera this year. The Mets just got to get healthy. Because when healthy, you roll into a postseason with Syndergaard, DeGrom, Harvey, Matz, Wheeler, Bartolo Colon. You take any one of those 6 and come up with a 3 or 4 man rotation, you're going to replicate what you did when you went to the World Series. Except this time you hope you win it. So the Mets just have to get healthy, add another arm in that bullpen to complement Familia and Addison Reed. The Mets should be fine. That's the formula for the Mets. This year, going into it, the expectation was win the World Series, have a parade down the Canyon of Heroes, or it's a bus. Then after a few weeks, a few months, you saw those expectations drastically change because this was a group that was decimated with injury. Killed by it. You saw the resolve. They got some help when they went through that brutal stretch of not being able to win back-to-back consecutive games. The Cardinals didn't pull away. The Giants didn't pull away. Mets were resilient. When people were calling to fire the manager, they did not listen. They stuck to what they were doing, broke out of the slump. Top of the order in the regular season, tremendous. Reyes, Cabrera, and Cespedes. You got viable outings by Noah Syndergaard, Bartolo Colon, Gesellman, Lugo. You bunch your ticket into the postseason the final week. Granderson, completely different second half. Bruce hot last week of the season, hitting big home run after big home run. Boom, you're in the postseason. It's disappointing. It's tough to get over. Wednesday was not fun. It was fun until that 9th inning when Familia let up the big home run to make it 3-0. I understand your pain, Mets fans. I am a Mets fan. I also understand your pain when Bumgarner robs Drupal Cabrera, which would have been an RBI single. What a catch. The Mets went up against a very dominant starting pitcher in the postseason in Madison Bumgarner. There is no shame in this season. If they were healthy and this is how the season ended, yes, a lot of shame. But no shame in the 2016 New York Mets because when everyone counted them out, you could be the biggest fan in the world. There was a time where you doubted them. There was a time when you thought, no way they're getting to the postseason. They found a way to shut everyone up. They did that by getting to the wild card round. Disappointing that they did not advance because you're home in front of some of the best fans in the world. No question, it's disappointing. But when you look back at this big picture, with all that they suffered from an injury standpoint, this season gets a check. It was successful. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, The Jersey. We appreciate Josh Smoker for joining us. Time right now in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios, 5:35. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we will give you a baseball update, a poll question update, and a go around the National Football League. Continue to talk about the disappointment of Todd Bowles and Ben McAdoo, and the Eagles suffer their first loss of the season. Plus some more on the Zach Gelb Show.